F124 Driver Career Mode Season 1, round number 16, the finale for Season 1, the Qatar Grand Prix. Yes, this season is ending in Qatar with a sprint weekend as well, and we're coming off 3 pretty poor weekends, 3 DNFs technically in a row, because we had a failure last time out in Vegas in the Grand Prix. So we're hoping that this time we can actually have a mechanical failure free weekend. That would be ideal. It is the final weekend of the season. We will be leaving Aston Martin most certainly at the end of this season, moving to a new team. We've had talks with McLaren. Looking at R&D, it's still very close up at the top there. We've actually just jumped back ahead of Ferrari again after they overtook us into the Las Vegas weekend. We've jumped back ahead of them up into third. Still McLaren and Red Bull up the top. It was the control electronics that went kaboom on us last time out, so we're going to have to put, well, we don't have to, because we could use the second one, but it had like 55% wear, so it was going to be very worn by the end of this, you know, with it being a sprint as well. So we're putting on a new control electronics. That will give us a penalty, a 5-place grid penalty for the sprint race, but then hopefully, providing nothing goes wrong in the sprint race, we will have no grid penalties for the final Grand Prix of this season. I love Qatar, to be honest. It's not the best track for racing on, as we have quite a few cars that we're trying to get past here on our qualifying lap. Didn't time this amazingly, but in the end we went quickest by almost 2.5 tenths. So yeah, good pace here, at least in sprint quali. Yeah, so hopefully no grid penalties for the main Grand Prix, because we want to at least end this season on a high. You know, we had a pretty good first half of the season, to be honest. I mean, we got our first podium in our first race with a P2 finish. We got our first race win in round 3 of the season in Australia. And yeah, we had a really good first half of the season. It's the second half of the season that has really, and mainly, you know, the last 3-4 races that have really been a big disappointment. Sprint quali 2, we are still quickest by just over 0.2 of a second, so showing good pace. I don't know if it's, you know, having newer components on the car, because, you know, we're cooking so many components that we have quite a lot of new stuff now on the car by the end of the season, or what it is, but we have very good pace here, and I'm quite liking the track. Of course, this track was in F123. I'm not sure. I don't think it was in F122, was it? Or 21. Although they did race here in 2021, I believe it was 2021 they raced here. I don't think it was actually in the game. But at the end of sprint quali, we ended up P3, so we didn't actually end up quickest. Over 2 tenths down on Norris in third place there. And with the grid penalty, it means we're going to be, what, P8 for the race, for the sprint race. So yeah, that is the grid for the sprint. So let's see how we do.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Oscar Piastri, Fernando Alonso, Leclerc, Sainz, Perez, Shaw, Russell, Hamilton, Gasly, Albon, Tsunoda, Ocon, Hulkenberg, Ricciardo, Sargent, Magnussen, Joe, and Valtteri Bottas begins the race from the back of the grid. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
Here we go for the sprint race in Qatar. To 5 red lights for the second to last time this season, starting from P8 on the grid. It is a pretty good start. We're already ahead of Perez as we head down this straight here. Fairly long run into turn 1. Everybody's very defensive on the inside. We're going past Carlos Sainz. We're side by side with Charles Leclerc in the other Ferrari as well. We're potentially going to get past Charles Leclerc. He's still side by side with us round the next corner, but we've gotten ahead. That is probably our best start ever that we've had in this game. We've had some pretty poor starts in this game, so to get past 3 cars essentially round turn 1 is pretty damn impressive for me, and we're already up to P5 and right behind our teammate Alonso, who's dropped back a couple of positions from where he started this sprint. Lando Norris still leads from Verstappen, and then Piastri, Alonso and myself. The 2 Ferraris battling with each other, as well as Sainz has actually gotten past Leclerc, who's actually now falling back a little bit. I don't know what's happened to him. We didn't make contact with him. Definitely no damage on my end, with Leclerc, so I don't know why he's just fallen back there. You can see already there's a big gap there between, well, now Sainz and Perez, who's gotten past Leclerc. We're managing to just about stick with this lead group, but Sainz is coming along with us in the Ferrari. Aston Martin and Ferrari very close on R&D. I mean, you know, we're right there with the top group, but it is really Ferrari that are the team, I guess, closest to us. I don't know, it is pretty damn close all around as we run a little bit wide out of the final corner, but as we finish lap 1 of this sprint race, very, very good. Like, seriously, that is probably the best start we've ever had to a race on F1 24. Charles Leclerc, after that, yeah, unfortunate start, don't really know what happened. He's now trying to make his way back through on Sergio Perez, trying to go round the outside of turn 1. Pretty much the only overtaking opportunity on this track is into turn 1. The rest of the track, very wiggly, and no really hard braking zones other than into turn 1. And even in turn 1, it's not like a super hard braking zone. So, yeah, that's the problem with the track. It's a fun track to drive. It's, you know, you get a lot of overtaking going into turn 1 down that front straight. But other than that, not a lot of action. Although these guys have managed to go side by side through a lot of this lap. And is it going to continue? No. Leclerc does just about squeeze ahead of Perez. Back up to 7th for him. He'll now try and chase down this lead group of 6 cars. We basically have 6 cars here going for the win. Verstappen is going to move himself, or try and move himself up into the lead of this sprint race, going down the inside of Lando Norris. They're still side by side, but just about manages to get ahead for Verstappen, so he now leads the current, well, the Drivers' Champion for Season 1 2024 is into the lead, but not for long as both McLarens absolutely swamp him. Norris is back into the lead again, just ahead of his teammate. Verstappen does at least manage to fight here with Piastri, though, for 2nd place. And I think he will, no, he's not quite ahead at the moment, still side by side between these two. Verstappen on the outside, Piastri on the inside, trying to make it a McLaren 1-2 in this sprint race. It is, you know, very close in the Constructors' Championship here, so McLaren would be very happy with a 1-2 here, but unfortunately for Piastri, Verstappen's able to get past, and he actually manages to get back up into the lead a little bit later on. Or actually, no, sorry, this is at the same time that was happening. Hamilton is retiring from this sprint race. So yes, it's been a very topsy-turvy season for Lewis Hamilton. He starts this sprint weekend with a retirement. Fernando Alonso, of course, in this top group as well. Also managing to get past Verstappen, who's kind of falling down the order a little bit here, actually, because Piastri gets past as well. They've lost DRS to Norris in the lead, so Norris may be able to now run off in the lead, as, yeah, a lot of fighting going on here. Piastri trying to defend from Alonso, and he does manage to defend. So it is now a McLaren 1-2 in the sprint race. Nico Hülkenberg currently running in P10 with Albon in P9. Good work from those two, but unfortunately for Hülkenberg, no luck for him this race. He has a mechanical failure as well on lap number 6 of the sprint race. Tries to get out of the way around the final corner, and he will not be scoring a point. He promotes Tsunoda up into that P10 position, and he will be out of this race. The battle at the front, at least for 2nd place, as Norris, like I said, kind of running away in front, is still going on. It's now Alonso up to 2nd place. Kind of dropped Verstappen a little bit here. I mean, he's still in the battle, and a few laps later, it's actually going on to the final lap of the sprint race. He's gotten past Alonso up to 3rd, and now he's going to try and get past Piastri for 2nd, and he's going to make that move stick, because now Piastri's under fire from Alonso, but Alonso can't quite do anything. And as we head around the final few corners here, you've not really seen anything from me since the first lap, because I was kind of just in this group here, towards the back of the group. Everybody in front was fighting each other, but I wasn't really able to fight at all. And I was defending from Sainz, who right at the end there was right behind me, only 2/10 back. We did, though, manage to finish P5 in the end. It's 4th for Alonso, 5th for myself. Decent enough results. We've at least finished this race. I'm just hoping that we can finish the Grand Prix, because that is probably more important. Because we will see the standings in a moment, just to, you know, get an idea of what's going on there. But yes, that's the finishing order. Lando Norris wins another sprint race from Max Verstappen, and then Oscar Piastri in 3rd. Both championships are, oh sorry, I don't think the Constructors is quite wrapped up, or maybe it is. Maybe it did get wrapped up last time, actually, now that I think about it. I can't quite remember. But it's very close. It may actually be that we're in a battle with McLaren for 2nd place. Yes, that is the case looking at this now. So these are the standings after that sprint race. Verstappen's already won the drivers, Red Bull have already won the constructors, but it is a battle really only between Norris and Alonso for second in the drivers, and it is a battle between McLaren and Aston Martin for second in the constructors, as we are 3 points behind McLaren in the constructors now. They just about outscored us at that race and got back into second place. We can, I think, no, we can't get second actually, so it is, the best we can do really is third. Well, most likely it's going to be fourth for us in the Drivers' Championship, but yeah, we want to try and, although it's been a pretty sour end to this season with Aston Martin, I do want to try and get Aston second in the constructors, and get Alonso and myself as far up the drivers as we can. So we're going to try and make that happen here. Now, I was hoping that my good pace from sprint quali would continue into the main quali here, because now I don't have any grid penalties. We didn't have a mechanical failure in the sprint, so we don't have to change any components going into the into normal qualifying, and our pace is still good. P1 in Q1, only just over half a tenth ahead of, I think it was Piastri, one of the McLarens anyway, so still out in front, not quite as far in front as we were in the sprint, but still showing good pace seemingly. So I'm hopeful that we can have a good quali here as we now go into Q2. Another run on the soft tyres, of course, soft tyres all throughout this quali session, unlike with the sprint where we had mediums for Q1 and Q2 and then softs for SQ3. I really, it is really fun to drive this track in quali. It's kind of like Monaco, I guess, in a way that it's funner to drive in quali than it is in the race, although the race ends up being fairly fun. You'll see that soon, but quali, I was really loving it, and this lap here in Q2, I just really gave it my all. We gapped Norris by 0.355 seconds, so it's P1 once again in Q2. No surprises out in Q2 there, so it is the usual 5 teams through. And now we get to the Q3 lap. After my first flying lap, I am on provisional pole from Piastri and Verstappen. And that was a hell of a lap, but that's not the lap that got me pole position. Now this lap here in Q3 may be the best lap I've ever done, certainly on F124, possibly in any F1 game, possibly in any game. I'm only slightly up here, but to be fair, my first sector was already very good on my last lap. My lap was very good. I'm on pole, provisional pole. Alonso does his lap. He's only P2, so we're going to be ahead of Alonso. It's currently an Aston Martin 1-2 on the grid for the final race of the season. Qualifying is over, where you can see how close we are with the delta there, just kind of going in and out of green and red. We're only, 300ths, 400ths of a second up at the moment. I'm trying to get everything out of this car, and Piastri goes quicker than me. Piastri has snatched provisional pole off myself. We've gone green through sector 2. It's not purple though, so he's obviously had a better sector 2, but we are giving it everything around these final corners. We were almost a tenth of a second up as we headed into the final corner. Try and get on the power as early as we can. We're going to beat our time by 600ths of a second, and we just about manage to sneak pole position out of this race 600ths of a second quicker than Oscar Piastri in second place. What a qualifying session that was. We've got Alonso there in third, Norris is in fourth, so it is Aston Martin and McLaren at the top, showing that those are possibly the best cars now. Red Bull, although they're there on R&D, not quite as quick with Verstappen in fifth, but that's it. We're starting on pole position for the final Grand Prix of the season.
Welcome back to Qatar at the Lusail International Circuit. There's a long history of two-wheeled motorsport action here, but in 2021, Lewis Hamilton won out as part of an epic battle that year with Max Verstappen. But who will win out tonight? We're back here in Lusail for a track that's 3.34 miles long. There are 16 turns around its unique three-pronged shape and just a single DRS zone out of turn 16. It's fast and it's flowing, and there's a good overtaking opportunity with DRS down the long straight and into turn 1. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Shaw lines up on pole position, and it's Fernando Alonso alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Leclerc, Perez, Hamilton, Sainz, Albon, Gasly, Oscar Piastri, Ocon, Hulkenberg, Verstappen, Tsunoda, Bottas, Russell, Sargent, Ricciardo, Magnussen, and Zhou Guanyu. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Here we go for the final time in Season 1, for probably the final time with Aston Martin. 5 red lights are out from pole position, and it's Alonso alongside us as Piastri has a penalty, and Alonso has had a better start than us. He's on the inside, but we're going to fight this one really, really hard because we want to win this race. We want to win our final race with Aston Martin this season, and we just about managed to barge Alonso out and have got back into the lead of this Qatar Grand Prix. We lead the final race of the season from our teammate. If we can bring home a 1-2 finish for this final race of the season, we will get P2 in the Constructors' Championship, and we will end this season on the highest of possible highs. But to do it, well, to do it with the highest possible highs, I need to be the one in front. I need to win this race. And as we head through these next few corners, the cars behind have kind of been slowing each other down. But me and Alonso already have a significant gap over Hamilton, who's managed to get himself up to third. Both McLarens, I mean, Piastri had a penalty, so he was down in like 10th or 11th or something. Norris, I think, started in third, but has fallen down behind the 2 Ferraris and Hamilton, who's had a stellar start to get up to P3. So, yeah, but look at the gap already. We've already gapped the rest of the field. The 2 Aston Martins out the front here. I knew my pace was good, but it looks like Alonso's pace is very good as well. As we come to the end of lap number 1, we have this big gap. Now with DRS, perhaps we can start extending this gap and maybe having a bit of a lonely race, but we'll have to see. Hamilton, like I said, he had a great start. Started in 6th position. Norris had a terrible start, falling way down the order. As Hamilton, yeah, got an amazing start and is side-by-side with Leclerc in through turn 1. You can see myself and Alonso side-by-side as well. These guys side-by-side for a little bit longer, though, as they still battle it out through the next few corners. Leclerc trying to get a podium for this final race of the season. It's also been a very topsy-turvy season for them as well. I think that's helped Aston Martin, my team, of course, you know, be there in the championship fight because, yeah, people like Hamilton, Russell, and the 2 McLaren, the 2 Ferraris especially, have definitely had very up and down seasons, as these guys are still side by side. This is why we managed to get such a gap to these guys, because Hamilton and Leclerc were side by side for so long, but eventually Leclerc does manage to get ahead. Hamilton managed to get ahead of Leclerc, but once DRS is activated on lap number 2, well, actually no, DRS isn't even activated yet. This is going on to lap 2. Leclerc dives himself down the inside and makes a much easier move on Hamilton than Hamilton did on him to get himself back up into 3rd place, but I feel like this could be a battle that goes on for a while. Like I said, Piastri had a penalty, unfortunate for him because he would have been on the front row with us, and he is going to try and get 2 moves done in one corner. He gets past Gasly, can't quite get past Albon in the end, but he's up into the points now, into P9, so he will at least be looking to score some good points here, especially if McLaren want to get 2nd in the championship. Now, you can see the gap that we have, massive gap, but Alonso's right here with us, and he is flying as well. He's got very, very good pace. The team told me give the position like they did in, was it Brazil, where they were like, Fernando's faster than you. I didn't give him the position though. I kind of just ran out of ERS and ended up having to let him go. Next lap or so around, and he defends a little bit, but we're going to get straight back at him just to show the team, hey, he's not faster than me. He's in the DRS. That's helping him out. I can do the exact same thing. So this might be happening quite a lot here, switching around of the lead. Verstappen also had a grid penalty. He's down in 11th. He's not having a great time in this final race. Of course, it doesn't really matter. He's already won the drivers. Red Bull have already won the constructors, but he's going to go for a double overtake on both the Alpines, and I think he's going to get it done. Yes, he is, on Gasly and Ocon. What a move for Max Verstappen from P11 to P9 in one corner. The battle for third position, final place on the podium, still rages on between Leclerc and Hamilton. Leclerc up the inside of Hamilton into turn 1, side-by-side action as they head round to turn 2. These guys having a ding-dong battle, of course. In real life, they will be teammates in 2025. We'll have to see if that happens as well in this career mode of ours for next season, but as for now, they are on different teams. Ocon has a mechanical failure and is out of the Grand Prix as we come out of the final corner, have a big old snap of oversteer, and I think there's no point trying to fight with Alonso there. We're going to have to stay behind him because we just did not have the speed out of that corner to stay ahead. So he's back up into the lead again. On lap number 13 though, we're going to come into the pits. I'm actually going through fuel quite a lot quicker than I thought I would as well. And one thing I noticed that when I was in second place behind Alonso, I wouldn't use quite as much fuel. So that was also part of my tactic, let Alonso pass for a little bit, try and get the fuel back up again. And then once I'm in the lead, and especially when I'm having to, deploy and defend, I was using quite a lot of fuel. So it was also slightly tactical letting him pass, but he was also very, very quick. He was on my tail the whole time. As we come out of the pits on our set of hard compound tyres, that should be our final pit stop of the season. We head down the main straight here. Alonso would come in the lap after me. There he is on the exit of the pit. Are we going to get the undercuts on our teammate? Cut across in front of him. Yes, we are. We're back up into the lead. Well, effectively into the lead after the guys ahead pit. But with DRS, he's going to come straight back at us again. As we go into turn 1, Alonso dives up the inside. We're not going to fight it too much, although then we're going to get kind of caught out and pretty much run into the back of him. I think there was contact there. Thankfully, no damage, but yeah, kind of cut in front of me more than I expected, and that's fine. And then we have another very close moment as we go to get past him once again into turn 1 on lap number 17. Back up into the lead again. You can see we have 8 seconds to Leclerc in third. We have absolutely driven away with, with those guys fighting each other and with us having DRS off each other. We are absolutely out. I mean, look at the gap. It's a massive gap as Alonso gets back past us again. He is just not letting off. He's right there with us at all times. And this is just going to keep going on. Lap number 19, we're going to go for the move once again. Up the inside, down to turn 1. It's such a long straight that with DRS and ERS, you can just power your way through. The battle for P3 and P4 continues on. It's not just Leclerc and Hamilton having this battle. Norris is trying to get up here as well after his poor start. He's side by side with Hamilton for 4th position. This could let Leclerc drive away a bit here though and take that, kind of snatch that final podium position, because these guys are going to go side by side for quite a long time here. Norris versus Hamilton. Great little battle. Of course, Norris trying to make sure he cements P2 in the championship for himself and for McLaren as well. His teammate, by the way, Piastri, up to 7th now and actually ahead of both the Red Bull. So, yeah, Verstappen especially, only just being ahead of Perez, not, well, quite a way ahead of Perez. Actually, Perez, you can see him just back there. He's a bit further back, but, yeah, position-wise, they're right next to each other. Hamilton and Norris, though, still side by side. Hamilton does just about manage to hang on, though, to 4th place, but now has lost DRS to Leclerc, who is now going to be pretty comfortable for 3rd position. Lap 21, and I make Alonso go to the outside. He's going to do that quite easily, though, and once again, we just can't really defend. We can't really, well, yeah, defend the position. Can't do much about it, as we are very nearly 3 wide into turn 1. Sainz going up the inside of Hamilton. He's now in this battle for what is now P4. Norris and Hamilton are side by side again. Norris manages to get past this time, but now it's only for 5th place. Verstappen and Piastri are side by side as well. There was a lot of moves going on into turn 1, and a lot of side by side action after that point. You didn't really see any moves actually, get instigated after turn 1, but there were still side-by-side moves going on, and Verstappen managed to get past Piastri. That could help us in the constructors, although it doesn't really matter at the moment anyway, because we're 1-2, so no matter what happens, as long as we finish 1-2, we're going to win the constructors championship, and we want to try and win this race, getting back past Alonso again on lap 24. It's getting very tense here. 26 onto 27 of 29 laps in this race. We're now trying to consolidate this lead. We make him go to the outside. It's going to be a late move this time. We're going to try and this time keep the position. We're going to fight him through turn 1. We're going to be side by side, almost sending him off the track, then trying to cut back in underneath him. Little bit of contact perhaps there, but that lets him maybe get back past us again. We're going to defend to the inside of the next corner, and we're going to stay ahead. We're going to keep the lead of this race for now, but as we head onto the final lap of this Grand Prix, have I made a mistake here? Should I have let him pass the last lap so that I could get past him on the final lap? Because there's nothing I can do. I'm draining my ERS, and Alonso is up into the lead on the final lap of this race. We are going to try and sit right here behind him. We've gone purple through sector 2 on the final lap. We are absolutely throwing the car around here as fast as we can, a little bit too much around that corner. That might have just been it. We are trying to do everything we can to win this race, but I don't think we can do it. Alonso has done what he needed to do. It's going to be an Aston Martin 1-2, but it's going to be us in second. Aston Martin, Alonso will win the Grand Prix. What a race.
Well, there it is, mate. The checkered flag comes down on the season. It might have been a tough season. We've definitely had some tough moments in it, but I hope there's been some times in there that you've enjoyed. I know there have been for me. And look, there's lots to learn, so hopefully we can go again, and next time we'll do better.
It's happy days for the Fonz. A winner today, Fernando Alonso.
Well, great victory today for the final race of the season, and you take that energy with you through the end of the year, through the winter break, and it's important because your team lives off of that. You want them to deliver you the best possible car for the start of next season's campaign.
The Aston Martin team will be very happy with today's performance. And of course, the final result. Another display of excellent driving and excellent teamwork. And a well-deserved first-place finish.
Well, it's not quite how I wanted to end the season. I didn't end the season with a win, and I could have very easily had a win, but unfortunately for us, maybe tactically we didn't play it well. I should have probably let Alonso pass on the second to last lap to then have the DRS on the final lap to get back past again, but I was just trying to stay ahead. It was a great battle between me and Alonso, an awesome battle to have between the teammates for the final race of the season, but unfortunately for us, it is not P1. We did get the fastest lap though, so that's something, but Alonso does win the race. We were both going for our second win of the season, second Grand Prix win of the season there, and it was Alonso who got it. He's going to finish ahead of us in the championship as well. But I think for a first season, for what is technically a rookie season in Formula 1, we did a pretty damn good job. Like I said, we get fastest lap by half a second, actually, at least from Alonso there. I think he did have the second quickest time, looking at that. And it was Leclerc who came home P3, and Carlos Sainz comes home P4. So a great result from Ferrari in the end, who have kind of been a bit all over the place this season. Lando Norris does manage to secure P2 in the championship by 1 point from Fernando Alonso. 2:14 for Norris, 2:13 for Alonso. So close between those two. Verstappen ends up winning by 79 points in the end, and we come home in 4th position with 183 points. Quite a bit further back from Alonso than I would have hoped, but oh well, still a good position. And Aston Martin, we do manage to take second in the Constructors' Championship, only 18 points behind Red Bull, so a damn good showing from us. And McLaren there in 3rd, Ferrari 4th, and Mercedes in 5th, with then Alpine, RB, Williams, Sauber, and Haas in 10th place. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe. The start of the next season will be coming relatively soon, with probably an F1 Manager video coming in between. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.